Three things. These are the three biggest things that I find working with hundreds of dance and theatre school owners that cause stumbling blocks or problems within their school. So are you ready to learn about the three biggest blunders that dance and theatre school owners make? Good, because I am Sarah from the Dance Den and I'm here to tell you all about it. So I am a dance business mentor. I help dance studios and theatre schools thrive, but on their terms, so that there is a balance between their work and their home life. So these are the three things that I find time and time again that I end up working with either one-on-one or doing group coaching about these subjects. And the first one is about not knowing your numbers. Now, full disclosure, I am not an accountant. However, I love business maths. Don't give me algebra, I don't get it, but I love business maths. And I find that a lot of people bury their head in the sand when it comes to the numbers, either because, the school's doing really well and you've got really good numbers and you're just throwing the kitchen sink at it, and then you forget to look at the actual costs or the actual profit within the classes. Or, maybe you think you're doing really well, but you've lost control of the actual numbers itself, and you could be bleeding money from your company. Or you just don't take into account everything. There are costs that we get annually, right? You've got your PPL, your music license, you've got your insurances, you've got your association costs. Maybe you lease a building, you've got your internet. This doesn't just happen magically. You got your phone, you've got all of these things that you use on an annual basis that has a core cost per class. Now, when you think, okay, yeah, I've got 15 students in this class, I'm making loads of money because my hall is only £10. But are you really allowing for what I call the auxiliary costs, which are all the extras that you forget about? Because actually your profit margin in that class might only be 4 children by the time you take into account everything. Now this, when you dig down, is scary. Okay, this is a bury your head in the sand type moment. Let's still be ostriches, but I'm asking you to have courage and look in depth at the numbers. There is a whole module on this in my membership program, and I'm quite hot on this with my members because it's important that you get it and you understand, because with knowledge comes power. And yes, it may be scary to say, oh my God, I'm losing money. But isn't it better to know the fact that you're losing money and therefore you can make the correct changes to stop losing money? Same as if you're hemorrhaging money on the other side and you've lost control of where everything is being spent. It's good to know, oh my God, how much did I spend last month? Was that really necessary? And rein it in again so that you've got more money in your pocket, more money for you. That's what we're in business for, right? We're in business. Let's not shy away from it. We're in business to make money. Or are we? This is where it gets interesting, you see, because we're passion-led business owners, and often we say we're in it for the children. Don't get me wrong. I am a teacher. When I turn up to teach a class, I'm all in for those kids. But when you're at home, away from them, you have to know your numbers. You have to concentrate on whether you're actually making money or not. Because if you keep giving and giving and giving, there will come a point where you've got nothing left to give, and you will question, why haven't I got money to put food on the table? You have to ask these difficult questions. So this is why it's important to remember that you are in business to also not only pass on your knowledge, but also to make money so that you can earn a decent living from what you love doing. All right. So please know your numbers. Number 2 is dance mums, dance chums. This is a difficult one because there will be people in your business, in your circle, in your community, in your family, whatever you call your dance school, that are extremely important to you. But there also comes a point where you do need to draw a line. And I see this more and more in competition teams than I do in the regular schools, because they're with you a lot, right? And they're invested and their children do a lot and they want to see their children do well. And it all comes from a good place. But you have to take leadership of this and say, actually, this is my line. This is my customer. This is me. And there may be 1 or 2 that crosses over. The problem comes where you get 20 who cross over that line, and then all of a sudden you feel a bit like, oh my gosh. So understand your boundaries there and make sure that you protect yourself and that you are making decisions based on your expertise and what you know and what you want for your dance school versus 20 people's opinions of what they feel you should do. Okay, so be careful with that one. Okay, number 3 is another bury their head in the sand one, and that is not getting feedback. And this comes from a place of being scared, let's face it, because when you open the door to feedback, you open the door to potential criticism of yourself. And that can be quite scary. When I remember one of the last times that I got feedback from my dance school, and I was just like, what if they say things about me? What if they say that I'm useless and da-da-da and all the rest of it? How am I going to accept that? And you have to take the mindset of, actually, if I take that on board, I can grow as a person. So if they're saying I'm not communicating well enough, you can say, all right, what do they mean by that? And you've got to get into the detail. And I'll go through some stages of getting good feedback in a moment. But you have to get into the detail. If they say, oh, you don't communicate enough, well, what does that mean? Does that mean that it's not, that your language, your actual wording is not clear enough in your emails? Maybe your emails are too long. Maybe you need to bullet point them. Maybe they're not going out frequent enough. Maybe when they say communication is that you're not speaking to the parents between classes, but maybe there's a reason. Maybe you go back-to-back classes and you don't have time for that. But then has that expectation been delivered to that customer? Or are they expecting that whole full-on 2-minute, 3-minute, 5-minute conversation after class that you don't have time for? So are the expectations not out there? If that's the case, then maybe you have a time set out in the week where you say, this is the time where if you'd like to talk to me, I can open a Zoom call with you, or you can book an appointment with me. But I do not have the facility to do this after class because I go straight into another class. So you put that expectation out there, and then the parents go, I know you don't have time, so I will drop you a message on email. Then they feel like they're having that communication. They're not feel like they're having, I'm sorry, I can't talk now, I got to go and teach. Rightly so, you've got to go and teach because your focus has to be on that class. But then they get a bit like, oh, she doesn't communicate with me, we don't get this chance. So that's where the miscommunication happens. So by learning that from that parent, you can go, all right, you got to do a bit of Agatha Christie and you got to get a bit of deep dive in and go in and say, what does that mean? And maybe that's an email back to that parent that says, explain that to me, just, give me context. And then you can make those changes. And then that customer feels happy. But not only that customer, maybe there's a few others out there who are actually just not saying anything, who are not going, I have an issue with communication with you, because they don't want to upset you. but they feel better aligned. They feel like they have their voice heard when you make those changes. So again, when you get feedback, when you go for feedback, get specific, because when you just open the floodgates, that's when you will open the floodgates to potentially getting the nitpicking and it can get a bit personal. So protect yourself as well and get specific. So send out a specific feedback form about retention or about communication or about, if you've just done a show, for example, send a feedback form. What worked? What didn't work? You're not asking it about the show itself. You're asking about the organization of it. Yeah. The show itself is your ballpark. It's your creativity. That's where it works, right? Okay. You don't need feedback on that. Okay. Because the person watching might be a teacher or a doctor or an engineer or a bin man or a woman or whatever. That's their role of expertise. The show is yours. However, if your communication needs to be clearer or more concise or even less, or the handbook maybe that you'd created was too long and they didn't read it, and can they have it in bite size, please? These little things you can do and you can change, and it can help so that your customers have that ease of access to the information that they need, and you feel like they are happier. And when they're happier, because at the end of the day, you've got the two customers, right? You've got your parents and then you've got the children that you actually teach. And if the parents are happy, tickety-boo. And as long as the children are happy, the parents are happy. Yeah. So make your feedback really, really specific. So I hope that has helped you. That are the three biggest things that I find that people don't do in their school, that I help people with time and time again, whether that is one-on-one group coaching or within my membership. So let me know if that found that helpful, and I will see you on the next video.